Expressed on this program are not necessarily those of CNS Channel 6.
Good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us and, of course, inviting us into your homes, for another informative program. Today we're going to have a lighter program, but important. Last week we dealt with the health sector. Today we're going to be focusing on the Georgetown City Council. I think that it is important for the Georgetown City Council to get as much as positive and encouragement and support as we can give to them, because the minute something goes wrong and we find that the Georgetown City Council is at fault or they're lacking, we go in on them the way we go in on GPL. So when they've done great things, I think it's always good to have that out there. And I can tell you, I did say 2 Fridays ago that I was very proud of the Georgetown City Council and Guyanese as a whole, because we did have the president of Ghana here, and the city was clean. Guyanese were well behaved, even if it's just for 48 hours. But I feel that I want to hear from the director of solid waste management, because he has done a lot. I know it's not a one-man show. He himself would tell you that he has an entire team behind him. But those of you who are prevalent on social media, as I am, you would know that he's always there using his Facebook page and so on to tell you exactly what is happening in our city in terms of progress, keeping it clean, maintenance, and so forth. So I thought it's important to invite him back on Facing the Nation today to tell you about the works that they would have completed, maintenance works, ongoing works, and possible future plans to keep our city where it's not perfect as yet. It's nowhere near perfect, but it's a vast improvement, from where we were a few years ago regarding what is happening in our city in terms of cleanliness. That is coming up in the first half. In the second half of the program, even though most of you may have seen it already, remember Facing the Nation has a different viewership. So for those of you who missed it, I have the president's address to the nation right after the CCJ's ruling. I know lots of rhetoric. I was just discussing that with my guest. Lots of rhetoric going on social media. Off of social media, people are angry and heated in the push and pull. In all of this, I always like to bring the facts back, and it's always good to hear the facts from the officials. So I thought it necessary to rebroadcast that. It's a brief address to the nation from the president after the CCJ would have ruled earlier this week. I think they ruled on Tuesday. So, but for now, let's get to our current guest, Walter Narine, Director of Solid Waste Management at the Georgetown City Council. Welcome back to Facing the Nation.
Thank you, Malika.
It's always so good to have you back.
Yeah.
And with all that work you've been doing, I don't see it taking a toll on you yet. I'm sitting here looking for the grays and I'm not seeing
grace.
any.
No
grays.
No grace.
Walter, let's talk. I would describe it as some amount of success, even though people would say, we should not be celebrating things like this in 2019, because a clean city should have been a part of us years and decades ago. But again, I want you to talk about the whole process, especially in preparing for the president of Ghana. And again, people are also beating up on you a bit to say, well, not necessarily you personally, but city council to say, all right, it's only when a president of another country coming, we cleaning up. So let's hear from you, Walter.
Right. So I heard that, I'm going on a state visit. We should have more state visits, and then we'll have a cleaner city. Mm-hmm. But that's not so. What we would have shown over the last 2 weeks, when His Excellency was here on a state visit, is what we are capable of. Okay. And one of the things that was lacking from us at the City Council was equipment, right, and resources. And that was given to us, and we're very grateful, and I want to publicly say thank you to the government of Ghana, to the Ministry of Communities for stepping up and giving us the required resources. Right, now that we have acquired those equipment and tools, it is all about sustainability,
Yeah.
right? So in as much as you would have seen for the 48 hours or so, a clean city, we want to encourage everyone that look out for continuous state of the environment in terms of clean city, because we are very conscious that every Guyanese must conduct or want to be in a part of the city that is very clean and healthy,
Yeah.
right? It's very hard work. I mean, to maintain the city of Georgetown is tremendous amount of work, right? But what we have shift from is city council alone doing it,
Okay.
right? But now we have partners, right? Take, for example, our main drainage canals. We have National Drainage Irrigation Authority, NDIA, who's taken that responsibility from us, right? Not only taking it from us, they have partnered with us,
Partnered. Okay. So-
right, to do that. Ministry of Public Infrastructure has also been doing some more amount of work with us, because, I mean, not to be political, but it shows that in terms of this government of the day, it is more inclusiveness,
Understood.
right, rather than one person taking the toll. And because city council always have a lack of finances, right? So now the city of Georgetown is where everything happens. All our businesses are conducted here. All our ministries are here. We have a lot of landmarks in here. So why not come on board,
Yeah.
partner with the main city council, and let us bring the city to some amount of respect.
Right, I'm happy that you talked in general. We saw the transformation of the non-aligned
Yeah.
monument. Are there plans for us to see more of that? And when we even saw the 1763
monument.
monument, a cleanup and a facelift.
So it's something that we have to take pride in. I mean, I always talk about pride, right? We must not have our national monuments in any form of disrepair,
Yeah.
right? So this is just one thing that we've shown. That's two of we've started with. We didn't show much emphasis on in front of Parliament, which we have cleaned up also. And opposite Parliament, adjacent to Parliament, you have the Parliament View Gardens,
Yeah.
which we have done a lot of work here too, right? So every facet of Georgetown, historic sites and buildings, public buildings, we try over the next 3 months is to address them.
Oh, okay, so you're right. You have a timeline.
We have a timeline. We're going to put out a sustainable plan, and we're going to get to work. But now we have no excuse, period.
Yeah, because you have right.
We
you
have
the
what we're
equipment.
asking for, so we have no excuse, right? It's up for us now to get on the bandwagon, and it's not the solid waste department alone. When I say we, is the city engineers department, all the department remain city council is on board
Oh,
with
great.
our partners from public infrastructure, NDIA, Ministry of Agriculture, all come together to bring some amount of respectability to Georgetown.
Every time you come here, I like to talk about sanctions because I can never ever ignore the sections of society that may just be, for want of a better word, just want to be wicked.
Yeah.
Some people go about defacing things. Sometimes you have children, and viewers, when you don't talk to children, children do things that they should not be doing.
That's true.
Are there any, I'm not sure if this would fall under you, the ministry, when I say you meaning city council, the Ministry of Communities, or police in general. What about those people who purposely, intentionally, and wantonly deface our heritage sites and so on? Are there measures in place to deal with these people?
Well, first we have to put the mechanism in place, right? In that, when you look around, many of these sites, you don't have anybody manning it,
Yes, like security. or
right? So it's left to the public to do whatever. And then we have some society of unsound mind who take residency into those places and defacing it. So again, the non-line monument, 73 monument we plan. We haven't finished with it. All you
Oh,
like
okay.
what you see.
If there's more
We
to
haven't
come?
finished with those two
Wonderful.
sites yet. So the plans we have there is tremendous. So when we finish, we're going to ensure it'll be manned by guard. And we want this place to be open to public.
Yeah.
It should not be locked away, right? Public should go to have reading materials. They must know what an online monument is. Because you ask the average Guyanese what an online monument
Yeah,
represents.
they can't.
They really
Especially the
don't.
younger person.
The younger
because
person,
I'm
they
not
really
sure if
don't.
there's still abuse. I'm not sure if they're still teaching those things in schools.
Right, and Coffee, the tribe that he represented, is still active in Ghana. Right, so
And I didn't know
so that's where the whole history. I mean, our history is so beautiful, right? And we have to restore it. We have to take pride in what we do. Yes, and I heard the talk about sanctions and regulations and fines. that will come, right? We have to do it because this is where you have to toil very hard to get this place to some amount of respect, right? Some amount that we're all proud of. You'll have some section of society who just really don't care.
And it brings to mind too, I know it was very heartrending. A few months ago, you went on social media and you talked about the work, the amount of work I think it took you guys to clean up the, they call it the line top area. And then hours after, somebody went and just dumped.
Yeah.
So,
It is a battle. I mean,
in those cases, can council do any sort of investigation to decipher who the perpetrators were?
you see, sometimes we rely on the residents, the neighbors, to give us. Many of times they do not want to come forward, but they will be the one to call.
And say,
We have
well,
somebody dumping, but because of bad experiences, they really don't want to come out and say, okay, I saw. Sometimes it's the very neighbor who's actually doing it.
Exactly.
Right? So it is we have to police more. We have to do more policing. We just can't focus on Sabak Market alone or the hot zone. Right? Georgetown is not only there. Georgetown is across 15 square kilometers. Right? We have to do more policing and we have to include more residents into our work. Because I'm of the view that if everyone understands where we're going to go, where we want to go,
yeah.
and they're part of it, then our work is 80% completed.
Okay. There are some other things that I want to talk about within the council. Not sure if you could respond to them, but you touched on a bit about persons of unsound mind. Of course, vagrants come to mind and so on. Again, I don't think it's the responsibility of the council to get these persons off of the street. But are there any measures where you can work along? Whether I'm assuming it's Ministry of Health.
Social cohesion.
Oh, social cohesion.
Yeah. So it has to be a collaborative effort. I mean, the Main City Council, George, again, Police Force, Ministry of Health, social cohesion, we have to come together, we have to sit together, and we have to find something that is humane that can be done with, because they are human beings. They are human beings. They have facilities for them to go, but they really don't want to be locked away, right? They just go, sometimes they escape, right? In Japan in 2015, when I was there, they were actually creating employment for them. Right, so, and some of them they actually went off the street, came off the street after gaining employment for some amount of time. They actually rented an apartment and they moved off the street.
And they moved off.
Right, so you don't want to have them employed for 8 hours. You could probably have them employed for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then they come and go.
Right. Okay.
Right, so even to just
until they of themselves can develop.
to develop, and because sometimes, I mean, for whatever reason, many reasons that they have given up, and they just go on the streets and be like that. But if, for example, cleaning, littering, if you have some of them who are, what you say, around Fogarty's building, for example, Louisiana George Post Office, if you have those and you give them like an hour employment to clean up every day, right? Sooner or later, they themselves would not litter because they don't want tomorrow they have to go and clean up.
To clean it up.
And they will ensure they will police that area for you.
Yes, yes.
Right? So it's something that we have to think about very strongly. And we have to include the ministries, assist ministries, and we have to have a concrete plan for them.
Okay, all right. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, my conversation today on the first half of our program is with the Director of Solid Waste Management, Mr. Walter Narine. And of course, we're talking things council and the fact that City Hall in recent times, have been doing a decent job of keeping our city clean. And I want to pause here too to remind you viewers that it's not only the job of City Council. And Walter just said something that reminded me, he talked about vagrants. If you take them off the streets and try to provide for them, they will help you police the streets. But residents, those of you who are of sound mind and behave sometimes as though you're of unsound mind, it is your responsibility also to keep your city clean. Stop littering. And again, some people probably tired of hearing us saying stop littering, but we have to continue to say it because you continue to litter and you continue to do things that will only deface our city. So, Walter, one of the things I want to also talk to you about, you talked about Japan. Are you using other maybe cities? Because I learned 2 Fridays ago, I was talking to one of your councillors actually, and he spoke about the fact that there is a committee in the council that deals with other cities, using other cities as model or twinning with other
Twinning with
cities.
others.
Have you, as solid waste management director, have you been using examples of other cities in terms of where we really want our city to go and what we really want to look like?
Okay, so I remember the first time I came on your show, and I'll continue to talk about it. It's one thing I learned in Japan is that they have taken the organic component out of the waste stream,
Yes.
right? That's
yes.
the food waste and so on, turned to compost. So over the last, just before the state visit, I visited the primary schools in Georgetown and to lecture on composting, and actually started composting with them. They were very excited, and the students, you could actually see what I anticipate. They are the vehicle for change, right? They were actually bringing the food waste from home. to
They're
start the
actually
school.
doing that.
Because, and the sad thing about it, what I've noticed, none of the primary schools that I have visited do any amount of gardening. And it's very, very sad.
And they have this
They
space.
have the land space. Right? So now we're reinventing the wheel. Teach composting, starting gardening, and do what I have experienced in my primary school days, market days. We're selling the crops that you produce in your school, and the money is come back to the school. Right? So if you have that behavioral change, that will throw that organic component, they will take it back home and ensure mommy and daddy don't throw that away too, because they will start composting at home and gardening.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of the experience I saw in Japan, and something I've already incorporated in Georgetown. The other part of it is already using every facet of the waste to do something with it.
Okay.
Right? I'm actually working right now when using the plastic bottles. You know,
Yes,
the
I know you're
pavers.
big on the plastic.
Yeah, very. I really hate plastics. Honestly, I hate plastics.
You're still going to fast food places with your bowls
bowl,
from home.
my
You're
bowl,
still doing
yes.
that. You must take a selfie.
I will take a
I
selfie.
find that very interesting.
Well, after
yeah.
I'm finished here, probably I'll take a selfie when
Good.
I go. But the pavers, you know, the pavers that you make sidewalks and.
Yes.
So I'm making pavers out of the plastics, right? It's incorporated into the mixture. It's
Good.
very strong. Why plastics? Because plastic binds better with the mixture, and the good thing about plastics, water would not accumulate in it. It would run off,
Oh, okay.
right? So it's very it's
Understood.
stronger. So I'm working on that. I have a pilot with that, right? So every day, every week, actually, my staff and I will sit down and we'll try to come up with some new thing to make, right? But it has to be commercial, right? We're not looking at making something that we can probably sell. We want to make it commercial,
Okay.
right? Because we have a small population,
Very.
very small population, and we put in so much waste, right? It's alarming, right? We have the highest per capita waste generation in the Caribbean, right? And that comes because, for a better term, we do not cook at home anymore. We do not bring food at home.
But every time I hear someone say that, I am so tempted to not believe
It is.
that we.
Why? Okay, let me take you back to history. I wasn't born then, but I will take you back to probably early 80s or the 70s. How many franchises we had in Guyana?
Walter, you know I can't answer that.
Okay, none. The only fast food joint you had in Guyana was Quick Serve, Demico, right?
Okay.
Now you have every corner. You could find not a franchise, so you could find a barbecue stand or anything like that. Because the need, the demand in economics is supply and demand. Once there is a demand, the supply is
the
there.
supply is-
Good? So that's what happened. And then that will tell you, what I'm telling you is the truth. We eat too much out rather than at home. And then we're not looking at our health.
Health, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
because
well,
it comes
I
back
noticed,
towards
yeah.
our health, because we're putting all these fast foods into our systems. Very bad. I mean, look at me. Go back again. I love to read. Go back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and look at now. Compare the health
Yes, you're
then to
correct
now.
indeed. Yes, the health is
If you speak to the Minister of
people
Health,
are
she will tell you
coming
how
up
many
with
more
so many
patients
things.
you've seen at the hospitals daily,
Yes.
as compared
yes.
to back then.
And
Right?
indeed, last week we had the regional health officer for
Mm-hmm.
Region 6, and he spoke about the continually increasing number of chronic non-communicable diseases indeed. So,
I'm not beating up on the fast food joint. It's very nice to have every now and again, but it should not be a daily occurrence, right? You have fresh. We take Ghana for granted, honestly. You
I
can go to
agree.
the market and have fresh produce at the end of the market. You could take it home, you can cook, and why not do that? It irks me every time I see it. A father or a mom taking the kids to KFC or some stand to buy and pack it in the lunch bowl to take to school.
Yes.
And
That's a bit
tears me up.
upsetting indeed.
It tears me up, right? Because you're not looking for the child benefit, right? I mean, it might be
It's
easy
just a
to
quick
fix.
fix for you.
So that's where we have shifted, and it's something that we really need to look back, come back, and think what we're doing.
And of course, because of it, it is
be
adding to
conscious
our
about it.
garbage.
Yeah, we have too much
solid
garbage,
waste
a lot of
as
garbage.
well.
If you look at the garbage, it's plastics, wrappers, boxes, all the things. So it's not really most organic, but we have seen a lot of wrappers. Like when you have the foreigners, and some of the foreigners, I wouldn't call it country name,
Yeah.
who
Understood.
visit the stores in Regent Street or Rob Street and so what they do is to take out all the wrapping materials out of the commodity and
And
pack
they-
it in a duffel bag. And they go to the duffel bag because they're catching the next plane out of Ghana. And they leave all the wrapping
All of
materials
that
in the
right
store.
there.
So that's why you have an increased amount of garbage in the commercial zone. The truck will just pass and clear, and then within an hour,
It's back
back
the same
to square
thing.
one. Right?
Okay.
So it's very challenging. It's very, very challenging. It's just something we're thinking about it. We have to put plans in place, but we have to include everybody. We just want to get up one morning and say, listen, this will be the rule and go ahead fast. No, we want to include them. Some people say you'll be taking too long, right, to implement
It's time.
stuff like that. But I mean, we want to have something that when we put it out there, everybody's on board. You'll have a few who will disagree, but they will be in the minority.
The minority, exactly. You talked about the fact that you are grateful. Council is grateful that government did step in and give
Yes, we
you
are
the
very.
equipment and so on. In terms of finance, I don't know how much you can make public. Barring the contribution that you got from government in terms of equipment, where is, again, I'm not sure if you can speak for the entire council, but I know at least your department, where is council in terms of finances and apart from the equipment, being able to sustain council and of course the city in terms of finances?
Well, it's always challenging, right? Because we primarily depend heavily on the ratepayer to come in to pay. And again, I will always say that we do not have the luxury as GPL and GTAT to cut off services
Right.
if you don't pay. So we're dependent. We have some very, very supportive ratepayers who make sure every January they are there at City Hall to pay.
To pay.
Right? So it's something that we are working towards having them. We have different schemes. We have a payment plan. We have so many different options for the ratepayer, right? To come in, to talk to us, discuss it. Because we don't want to go and have parade execution. We have judgment to sell your property. That is the last option,
Oh, okay.
right?
It's
Because
actually
it is in law, by law, that we have that option. We take them to court. And once court find that we have judgment in them, we can sell the property for the monies owed to the council, right? But we want to go a softer tone, have a conversation with them, bring them in, have a payment plan for them. But apart from the ratepayer, we are looking at different avenues to bring in more revenue. And we have started in the solid waste department. We have started renting the skip bins, right? This is the commercial bins to collect commercial waste. Right, and that is going very good because our rate is very competitive
Okay.
as compared to the other persons who are providing our services. So every department was tasked for 2019 budget to ensure that you have some new revenue income in your department. Whatever you're doing, you must look towards that because we just can't depend solely on waste and tax anymore.
Understood.
Right? Bylaws give us the authority to do some other things. We are doing that. Right? So over the next 2 months, probably you will see more of those revenue streams coming in, right, to supplement the rates and taxes that we have. We have produced for something that is over about 30 years, we haven't produced a surplus budget, not just a balanced budget. But 2019 budget is a surplus budget.
So that's
Right, so that is exciting because we have some amount of money that we can spend towards bringing more relief to the citizen of Georgetown. Right, so it is very exciting news for City Council that we're moving in the right direction. Right, and I'd like to thank the mayor City Council, the councillors, the mayor, and all the staff of the mayor City Council who have worked so hard and
Yeah, I
tirelessly
realize that.
to bring this amount, and we want to continue down that path. Right, but again, our vision right now is to include everyone. On the 30th of this month, we plan to have a cleanup where we incorporate the vendors.
Okay, that's
Because they are
in the
selling.
commercial area, so
Yeah,
to
that's
speak.
Sabak Market, Border Market, Regent Street, and all of them. Bring them out once a month and let them help us to clean. Right? And
They can understand the value of
exactly,
it when
exactly.
they're a
So
part.
if this is continuous and they're part of it, then they would not want to continue to litter.
To let them just,
daily.
yeah, they can actually hold each other
Right?
accountable.
And to be honest with you, some of the vendors, a percentage of them do not live in Georgetown. Thus, they just come, leave their garbage and
Garbage
go.
and they go.
Right? So we're gonna have a strict that if you don't come out, you wouldn't be allowed to sell.
Oh,
We
wow.
have to do that.
Can they? Because again, sometimes in Guyana we make almost everything in issue. Can they fight council on that? Can
No.
you really mandate
They
them
can't.
to?
Again, the bylaw vending, street vending is illegal.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's a consent that we're giving
That
to
you
them.
give them.
Right? So we have the law on our side. So we're gonna incorporate them, ask them to come out, even to clean where you're selling. We don't want to clean if you're selling Robs, we want you to clean Regent Street. No.
Yeah, you have to
clean where
your
you're
area.
selling. Right? We come, we register you, you come and sell, we come and clean, we come and oversee it, we verify it. In half an hour, we going home. But
Okay.
we know Mrs. X or Mr. X from this lot they came to clean and they're gone. And if everyone do that, then we are in good stead.
I think it's a great initiative indeed. Yeah,
Right.
let them contribute. Viewers, I think I've drained water almost enough. But before we begin to wrap up, as usual, I will always give you an opportunity to talk because you did just talk about that is coming up on the 30th of
30th
June.
of
You
June.
said. Any other big projects that are coming up that citizens should look out for and prepare to be a part of? Those of you living in Georgetown.
Well, we have, again, the sustainability plan in that the constituency councillors, they are going to be part of, each constituency will start doing their work, their own work, right? And the councillors are already submitted their projects, what they want to do for the constituency. They have the buy-in from the residents there. So that is also exciting because if each of the 15 constituency would have done some amount of work in terms of drain or putting up some resource center,
That's what I'm coming to
we
know.
are very, very in good place. We are very, and this again is monies that was made available from the government
From
again.
the government. Are you seeing initiative because and this was raised during the local government elections campaigning, and I asked a few of them who were some of them who are now councillors. Have you been seeing new initiatives in communities though, apart from me calling Walter need a light, the light in front of my house gone out, or my drain need digging, or the carpet need cleaning? Are you seeing additional initiatives and unique initiatives that would help residents?
I would be honest with you, all of them. All of the councillors have stepped up and they have submitted some really nice projects that they will be managing over the next 6 months for the year. Right? Not only that, they're waiting on that finances to start, they already started groundwork. Right? So my phone is bombarded. Sometimes I get ridiculed for not answering my phone.
But you're only human, eh?
But they call for assistance in terms of removing debris or assistance in terms of helping to cut down a tree or whatever it is. Right? So they have taken their jobs very seriously.
Wonderful.
And they are working tirelessly. Right? So I want to encourage all citizens to support your councillors. Right? They are there to bring some amount of relief to you. Right? You get a complaint, some residents say, we haven't seen our councillor. Your councillor is known. We have a telephone number. If you don't know, you call us, we can give you the telephone number for your councillor, and they will make themselves available to listen to your concern.
Okay.
Right? One thing that we don't have as yet, and it's something that we are looking at, is that they must have an office
Not
in the
every one of
constituency.
them.
Right? An office in the constituency so that the residents can go to them. Right? Rather than going to the homes. It's not very nice to go to homes.
Right.
Yeah?
Or meeting them at council at any really
So you should have an office at each constituency so the residents can go and visit with you. You can have a talk with them, and then that doesn't deter you from going out and reaching
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that. And from Municipal Council, just look out. Our sustainable plan kicks off probably next week. And we're going to not include the central Georgetown. We're going to move across Georgetown.
Okay.
Right, because we have planned to do each community, one community at a time. So we're going to go in there with all our resources, solid waste, engineer, public health, everybody, right? Go into one community and just clean it up. Once we clean, we're talking to them about education, we're talking about the littering bylaws, we're talking to them about raising tax, we're talking about them, about everything about the council.
So they're learning.
So when we leave that community, it's clean, they are very well educated about city council, what role they need to play, and how they can be part of the sustainability plan. And once we start that.
From the little work that you've been doing thus far, and this is interesting in the fact that you're going to clean and also to teach at the same time, do you find that the communities and the residents are receptive?
I would say 90% yes.
Okay.
90% yes. I mean, some communities that we probably raise eyebrows to, like, they might not, they surprise us.
Because they're, right.
They surprise us. When we go up there, they turn out. I mean, I could tell you, for example, in Tiger Bay, Sunday we went to Tiger Bay and you actually see the guys playing football on the road. So once you just go and spark a conversation, everybody's around you. And they're part, they're excited. They have ideas, they're excited about it, and they themselves to listen. Give us the tools, we're going to clean for you. Right? So Tiger Bay will be the first one we started with. Right? So they're very receptive. I mean, some people are very resistant to change.
Yeah.
Right? Some people are, that's city council
culture.
work, they have to do that. Right? But they're not seeing that this is where you reside, this is where you live, this is where your kids are.
What are you
living.
contributing?
What are you doing? Right? So I mean, and again, the councillors are very vocal in the constituencies, and I say every next 2 years we'll have a very dramatic change in Georgetown.
Oh, wonderful. Today is what date? Today is the 21st of
21st.
June. Viewers, I'm holding Walton.
Yeah, hold me
It's
accountable.
2 years, God's willing. I'm still on the face of this earth. 2 years. I'm going to be calling him and reminding him of this conversation. Walter, it is always a pleasure chatting with you.
problem.
Always so very informative and and very accommodating. Thank you so much for coming
You're
on
welcome,
Facing the
Malika.
Nation.
Thank you. Nice having you.
Great. The viewers, if you're now tuning in, you missed, of course, as usual, a very informative conversation with the Director of Solid Waste Management, Mr. Walter Narine. Of course, don't lose heart if you missed it. You're now joining us. You can catch the conversation subsequently. Before the end of the day, it will be loaded to YouTube and also to Facebook. And again, this is, I know, sometimes you get fed up of hearing about city council and this and that, but I said it in the beginning before we started our conversation that we beat up on council the way that we beat up on GPL and GTT and all the other companies that irritate all of us from time to time. So when good things are being done, it is great to highlight it, and I really wanted to put out there that, the work of the Solid Waste Management Department and City Council of a whole was bigger than bigger than the fact that we welcomed a president, welcomed an international president. So as he talked about maintenance, so those works will continue. What we'll do is take a quick break. On the other side of the break, of course, I have, for those of you who have not yet seen it, the president's address to the nation after the CCJ ruling. And of course, we'll deal with some housekeeping matters and probably wrap up today's conversation a little earlier than usual. This is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with Facing the Nation. Of course, we don't have much left on today's program. As you know, the big ruling that everyone was waiting for, that took place on Tuesday. That is the ruling of the CCJ. Since then, it's unfortunate, that when these things happen, you say you see Guyanese, you see our true colors, and sometimes I wonder if it is that we're not learning, or will we ever learn anything that at the end of the day, what are you first? You are Guyanese first. Since the CCJ ruling, we saw attacks from and in this case, no side is innocent. You saw these violent and nasty abuse outs and, for want of a better saying, cuss outs on social media. And I sat there and I'm thinking, These are the things that make people want to come off of social media. And as I speak about that, I'm also doing my final research project for international relations at the University of Guyana. And it is about social media and the influence of social media in the 21st century. And I'm battling with all of that, and I'm trying not to let what I'm seeing and hearing on Facebook compromise my project, because I don't want it to change the meaning and the angle of which my project is being done from. But I just said all that to say, I am so very disappointed in Guyanese and what is happening. Again, you keep attacking each other, and at the end of the day, I said it after the ruling. I said this since what people call the betrayal in December of 2018. Since then, I said the sky will not fall. At the end of the day, we're all Guyanese, and we can be on different political sides and still be cordial and still be respectful to each other. We can be whether one opposition and the other one government and still be respectful. But I don't think we're learning. And you see what happens when all of this starts, when the vile, vicious attack starts and the name calling and all of this, the real message and the truth get lost in it, because then you're going to have people are going to be speculating to give an impression that they know everything and they understand what they're talking about, when the thing is, and I saw someone said this on social media also, if you have not read the judgment and you don't understand clearly what is happening, you have no business commenting. Because again, my issue with all of this is that you're going to be misinforming the public and misleading the public. So me saying all that to introduce the president's address almost immediately after the ruling on the way forward. Again, I am not saying that you have to agree with everything that the president is saying or that you have to agree with everything that the opposition leader is saying, but you must respect what they're saying. And it also helps you to decipher for yourself what the truth is. So I'm going to, again, play the president's address after the ruling of the CCJ, and then come back and chat some more with you before we have to wrap up today's program. This is Facing the Nation.
Guyanese, the no confidence motion in December 2018 and the independent legal processes in the courts that followed it have been of utmost importance to me and the government. We respect the legal process and the decision of the Caribbean Court of Justice, as well as the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. We did not believe that the no confidence vote was valid, and neither did we believe it reflected the will of Parliament or the Guyanese people. We will, however, accept and abide by the court's decision. It is now clear that the Guyanese people need certainty about the future and a way forward. I want to outline a clear path. It is essential that we hold fair, free, and credible elections. We cannot proceed on the current list of voters. It is outdated and corrupted. It may hold as many as 200,000 incorrect entries. What is more, those who have reached the age of 18 years since the last elections are not on it. The Constitution entitles all citizens over the age of 18 the right to vote. It is a democratic imperative that house-to-house registration be completed swiftly so we can have an election at the earliest opportunity. The chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, Justice Patterson, has previously informed me that the commission will be ready to hold elections in November 2019. This will be after the completion of house-to-house registration. I now await a recommendation for a specific date from GCOM, and I will then issue a proclamation. We will be heading to the polls, and there is going to be a crucial choice for our citizens. choice to decide the future of our country, and most importantly, the future with regard to jobs, living standards, and education for our children. The International Monetary Fund has recently indicated that Guyana is on the right path in respect to our management of Guyana's oil resources. Guyanese will be given the choice to elect a government they trust to continue on this path, to keep Guyana moving forward, to secure a better life for every family with the united APNU plus AFC coalition, or risk our future by returning to the past. Guyana, since my election in 2015, has been moving in the right direction after 23 years of stagnation under successive PPP administrations. Significant progress has been made, but real change is neither quick or easy to come by. There is still a lot more to do. I will devote all my energies until the forthcoming election to serve our people and our country and deliver good governance. Guyanese can confidently expect to live in a country that is moving forward, with communities that are safer, in a society that is more cohesive, with better infrastructure, greater access to quality education, and an economy that is more resilient, providing better jobs. We are on the right path. When the election comes, I urge all of our people, of whatever background, to support me and the APNU plus AFC coalition to give us the opportunity to secure the best future for Guyana. I call on all Guyanese to remain calm, and I assure you that the government will abide by the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. I thank you.
All right. You heard it from the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana himself, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger. Now, he basically gave you what is his position and what is the government's position on the matter. One of the things I'll take from what he said is that he called for calm. So the usual vile and nasty attacks will not get us anywhere. It will not help us. Again, I always like to remind us, the world is watching. The world is watching as we behave in a nasty manner toward each other. Interestingly enough, you're going to... It is expected. We have gone into this culture whereby we're heated and we're attacking each other, but it is not the correct thing to do. The way that the president addressed the nation, can be used as an example. The language that he used, not the vile language that we see coming from some other leaders who are going to publicly say, oh, the government and it's... I can't use the word. I would not use the word on national television, but... this gentleman seemed to have no problem with using the word, because I noticed he was quoted in one of the dailies, by one of the mainstream media houses, the word beginning with S that he used to describe the government and its cabinet. And it really is sad, because again, every time we do these things and we speak like that and we behave like that, this is how we're teaching our young boys and our young girls to behave. Again, we continue on this path, we will be raising monsters. I said it before, you don't have to agree with what the president is saying. You don't even have to be on the government side. But respect what is being said. Respect what is happening. But I want to move away a bit from all the fighting and the vile attacks and the back and forth and so on. I want to urge young people at this time. These are interesting times for Guyana. We've been calling it uncharted waters. I think we've been calling it that since the 2011 elections, when we saw a minority government sitting in the parliament, when we saw that opposition actually had the majority. Since then, we've been calling almost everything uncharted waters, and that indeed is what it is. And I think we should be using this period and this season to learn. Understand your country, understand how the country works, understand the Constitution, so that you can form your own opinions and put them out there in a respectful manner, whether you think something is going wrong or going right. Also, this is the time that you should be positioning yourselves for greatness. No leader out there can make you great. As much as you're going to follow a leader or support a certain leader, a certain type of leader, at the end of the day, you are the only person who can make yourself great. And by doing that, you have to self-empower and self-develop of course, with the guidance and protection of the Heavenly Father, those of you who believe in God, whatever you believe in, at the end of the day, you have to seek support from that superior being, and that is the only way you can develop. You have to have your own deals. I know there are leaders out there that you will look up to, but you have to be able to form your own opinion, be strong. Use this time to develop yourselves. Position yourselves, whether it be developing yourselves in your career or going back to school, furthering your studies, becoming better qualified, or if you're not qualified at all, getting qualified. All those are ways of you empowering yourselves and positioning yourselves. So regardless of what happened in the future, whether it's in the next 2 years, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 2 decades, you will still be able to stand on your own 2 feet, because at the end of the day, only you can ensure your development. We have to move away from looking to leaders to hand us things and give us things, regardless of what people promise. This is the real world. Let's get real. If you don't look out for yourselves, you may actually be left behind. So at the end of the day, develop yourselves, position yourselves so that when whoever leader you support provide the opportunities or contribute to the provision of those opportunities, you can take advantage of the opportunities, you can exploit the opportunities, because you would have prepared yourself for that. On that note, I'm going to leave you today. I did promise you that we're going to be having some ministers coming on and chat with us, but of course, you had the CCJ ruling, so I guess decisions are still being made and people are still deciding on the way forward. I know earlier today, and I think yesterday, there were some protest action, picket action, peaceful picket action, of course, in front of GCOM, calling for trying to reinforce to GCOM that registration is needed, because what in fact we do have is a faulty list. Again, young people, I'm telling you, this is another opportunity. Once those decisions are made and announcements are made and so on, get yourself together. From now on, ensure that you're in a position where you have all your documents to go ahead and get registered whenever the final decisions and the final announcements are made, so that you would not be left behind. But right now, as I know, there is the call for house-to-house registration from the government, regardless of what other persons say. It is for the best in terms of, as it relates to house-to-house registration, it's definitely for the best, so that everyone who is entitled to vote in terms of age, you're of the legal age to vote, that you will be able to exercise your franchise. So again, I'll leave you on the note of saying, ensure that you're prepared for whatever greatness is to come your way, whether it's in your own personal lives, your career, your education. Ensure that you're ready to take that on. Let me also once again say thank you very much to the Director of Solid Waste Management, Mr. Walter Narine, for coming here and sharing with us about all of the plans. And you did hear him say one of the things that I'm really excited about is the fact that there's going to be continuous facelifts around our city and so on, where our monuments are concerned, our national landmarks. Those things are very important to us. Those are things that we should take pride in, do some reading, do some research. I say to people, views less on Facebook. I remember I had periods where I used to be very feisty on Facebook. Of course, not as vile as I see what is happening now. It's like they've gone on an entire level. Use some of that energy to develop yourselves, to learn about our country, to understand things, understand how the world works. Do lots of research, and you'll see you'll become a better individual for it. But that is my rant for today. I mean, some people ask me, Malika, do you actually have to rant every week? If you want to call it a rant, fine. But I hope at the end of the day, in everything that I've said, to quote a friend of mine, I hope at the end of the day, from my entire rant, you can pull some things, or at least one thing that you find encouraging. That is my only hope. So my rants come to you with love. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye to you from today's Facing the Nation program. I always remind you and urge you, be good Guyanese citizens, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and of course, I'm Malika Ramsey, and this has been Facing the Nation.